Please stand for the playing of the national anthem. Tim, would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
This evening, Council is pleased to have Dr. Anthony Oshabindi here to pray with us. Bishop, thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Holy One, creator of the ends of the earth, known by many names, name above all names, Spirit of life, Spirit of love, Spirit of community, Spirit of law and justice, we ask your blessings on the people who have been called to lead a community in which we live, work, and play. Help them as leaders to not ask first, how do we fix this, but to ask, what do we need to learn? How might we need to change? And to whom do we need to listen? Remind them, because we all forget from time to time, especially in the noisiness and uncanny notoriety of what passes for political debate today, that they are not only leaders, but also servants, and that it is their responsibility and ours to serve the common good of all. Remind them that no matter where we live, everyone undermining yet mining the strength of our multiplicity, our humanity, our diversity, yes, black, white, Hispanic, Asian, Muslim, Christian, Jew, Hindu, Sikh, or atheist, including our genderized duplicities, that indeed we are neighbors, compatriots, citizens, social siblings, that we as their elected and appointed servant leaders will respect and protect the least of those among us, our children, the elderly, the poor, those who are hungry, those who have no homes, those who are ill in their bodies, mind and spirit, the strangers and immigrants in our midst, those who live on the margins, those who are alone, those who are forgotten. Grant them and us the wisdom and courage to know and do what is right and good and true. May they and we speak out when it is time to speak out, and listen patiently and receptively when it is time to listen. May they always be guided by the spirit of community, by the spirit of justice, and by the spirit of love. This we pray in the name of all that we hold sacred and holy, and all that we hold good and right and true, omnipresent, omnipotent, omnicompetent, omnibenevolent, omnipotus, Gloria Deo, and we all say amen.
And amen, amen. Thank you, Bishop. Thank you. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bankston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorrance, Remy, President Harden. Any person who takes any actions to obstruct or interfere with the conduct of tonight's meeting may be charged with disturbing a lawful meeting pursuant to Columbus City Code 2317.12. Any person who enters those areas of city council chambers reserved for city officials or invited guests may be charged with criminal trespass pursuant to Columbus City Code 2311.21.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing none, the journal is approved. This week's communications received by the city clerk's office are listed on the agenda and will be published in the city bulletin. Are there any other communications to be read into the record?
Not at this time.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. I will go around the horn with council members for resolutions and announcements, starting with Councilmember Bangston. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. I just wanted to take this moment to recognize a grim milestone that we are approaching in this pandemic. As you know, that flags have been flown at half-staff to recognize the number of deaths. We are approaching 1 million during this pandemic. And so wanted to say that although we have great tools at our disposal as we continue to combat this, and now we know that this is something that we have to live with as a community, want to just pause and recognize those folks and remind folks here and folks that are listening, if you haven't, please get vaccinated. And know the vaccine doesn't necessarily keep you or prevent you from getting COVID, but it will keep you alive, and it will protect our community. So if you would, President Harden and the rest of my colleagues, just indulge me for a moment of silence for those that we have lost. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Barosa de Padilla.
Thank you, Council President. I have 2 announcements today. So one is just a reminder that parking is changing throughout the city of Columbus. So we'll be replacing all parking meters with mobile and kiosk payments for a simpler way to park. Parking removal began earlier this month, and final implementation will occur by the end of the month. Park Columbus has already begun changing signage to alert employees, residents, and visitors of the new way to park. So I'm going to give a couple bits of information, so if this is kind of quick, you can just play it back. As kiosks get installed and meter removal begins, signage will alert customers of the new zone numbers and ways to park. If you don't want to download the Park Columbus app, there are a couple of different ways that you can pay for parking. One, you can text PARK, P-A-R-K, to 77223. That's 77223, text PARK. You can scan a QR code that is listed near the on the parking signs, or so you can pay online, or you can call 877-727-5970. That's 877-727-5970, and you can also speak to someone, and you can pay over the phone. So there's a number of ways. Change is hard. I know it's a big change for all of us, but parking, downloading the app if you are able to, makes it super easy for folks to park. If you have other questions, we are happy to answer any parking concerns. You can reach out to my office. Secondly, in March, we began to acknowledge the appointment or reappointment of commissioners to our area commissions. So the past few meetings, we've had several appointments, and so I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge, congratulate, and thank all of those folks elected to serve our community in this capacity. As some folks know, these are unpaid volunteer positions that require a deep commitment of time and care for our neighborhoods. So a big congratulations to the new or reappointed commissioners from the West Scioto, Livingston Avenue, Greater Southeast, South Linden, and Far East area commissions. Thank you for your service, and a shout out to all of those folks. And that's all for me this evening.
Thank you, Councilmember Presbyterian Tim. Thank you. Councilmember Dorans. Councilmember Remy.
You guys are moving fast. All right, good evening, everyone. Thank you, Councilman President Harden. I have 2 resolutions this evening. I'd like to welcome Assistant Chief Dave Bow and team to the podium as I introduce Ordinance 88X 2022 to recognize and designate May 15th, 21 through the May 21st as Emergency Medical Services Week in Columbus, Ohio. Emergency Medical Services Week was established by President Gerald Ford in 1974 to celebrate EMS practitioners and the important work they do in our nation's communities. The theme of EMS Week 2022 is to thank our first responders for rising to the challenge to serve our community. In April of 1969, Columbus began administering emergency medical services to its residents through the development of the Columbus Heart Mobile Program, a partnership between the Columbus Division of Fire and The Ohio State University.
Emergency medical service providers perform a vital public service with over 1,500 members of the Columbus Division of Fire, providing life-saving care to those in need 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The members of the Columbus Division of Fire are highly trained paramedics that have the most current training and state-of-the-art equipment so that they can manage any emergency medical situation they may encounter. The emergency medical services system consists of emergency physicians, emergency nurses, emergency medical technicians, paramedics, firefighters, educators, and administrators. Columbus City Council recognizes the value, accomplishments, services, and selfless contributions of emergency medical service providers by designating Emergency Medical Services Week. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the City Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby recognize and designate May 15th through the 21st as Emergency Services Week and express gratitude to all members of the Columbus Division of Fire for their outstanding contributions to the safety and well-being of the citizens of Columbus, Ohio. Assistant Chief Dave Powell, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Councilmember Remy, President Harden, and the rest of City Council, on behalf of Fire Chief Jeffrey Happ, Medical Director Robert Lowe, and all CFD members, thank you for taking the time to support and acknowledge our work during EMS Week. One of the many reasons we recognize EMS Week is to acknowledge and thank our EMS providers and all that they do for our community. Sometimes we take that for granted, so it's important to take a week out of the year to commemorate and really say thank you to those who respond to emergencies in our city. The women and men of the Columbus Division of Fire have taken an oath to serve and protect the residents of Columbus. In 2021, Columbus Fire responded to over 137,000 EMS and rescue incidents. When our firefighters take those runs, they have no idea what they're heading into. They most likely are responding to someone's worst day and while they might be having a bad day themselves, they put all of that aside to better serve you and your loved ones. When it comes to our firefighters, EMTs, and paramedics, it is truly a team effort. Not one of us could do it without the other, and that's why we celebrate EMS Week. We've got a lot coming up this week with different events, so stay tuned to our social media and for events and help for information. And thank you again for all of your support and recognition. And if you see a firefighter, an EMT, or a paramedic, please take the time to say thank you. Thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you very much, Assistant Chief. I would like to say thank you personally for all the work that you guys do, men and women of the division do on a day in and day out basis. I know that through the pandemic and now and coming out of that pandemic, crime has been an issue, and certainly the responses that you have to make are certainly trying for all of the men and women of the division. So thank you for all the work that you do every day.
You're welcome.
Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? Lourdes, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla.
Hello. I just wanted to say, first, on a very personal note, thank you for all the service that you provide. Unfortunately, our family has had a couple very bad days, and it has been folks in these uniforms that have been there to take care of the people that we love, to comfort us, and literally breathe life into family members. So I just want to say thank you for that. I also want to acknowledge that we talked about the pandemic, and that was a time when you did not have the opportunity to have a day off. And before that, you were in situations where it's hard to be the person on someone's worst day because you take that and you carry that with you. And during a pandemic, when your families were challenged just like every other family, you showed up every day for our families and for our community. And so I just want to say thank you for what you do every day. A week is never enough. One thank you is never enough. A million thank yous will never be enough for all the work that you do for our communities every day. So I just want to say thank you. I hope that in this week where we acknowledge you, you also take time to care for yourselves and to care for each other and for your brothers and sisters in your community. So thank you for all your service.
Thank you so much.
Thank you much, Councilmember. Any other questions, comments? All right, seeing none, I move for adoption.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Thank you.
I'd also be remiss if I don't recognize Sergeant Brian Steele brought to my attention. It's also Peace Officer Memorial Day and Police Week. President Joseph R. Biden Jr. Did hereby proclaim May 15, 2022 as Peace Officers Memorial Day and May 15th through May 21st, 2022 as Police Week. I call upon all Americans to observe these events with appropriate ceremonies and activities and salute our nation's brave law enforcement officers and remember their peace officer brothers and sisters who have given their last full measure of devotion in the line of duty. I also call on the governors of the United States and its territories and appropriate officials of all units of the government to direct that the flag be flown at half-staff on Peace Officer Memorial Day. I further encourage all Americans to display the flag at half-staff from their homes and businesses on that day. So I didn't want him to feel slighted in any way or the Division of Police, and so I wanted to recognize that. And then we also have a resolution on consent as Light Ohio Blue Week is this week, May 15th through the 21st. And so appropriately, the divisions of both fire and police have been recognized this evening. Next, I'd like to introduce Lisa Weehee, the director of the Bear Foundation, to the podium as I introduce 90X 2022 to honor and recognize May 2022 as National Foster Care Month in Columbus, Ohio. In May 1988, President Ronald Reagan proclaimed the first National Foster Care Month in the United States. The original focus was to give foster parents the recognition they deserved for opening their homes to foster children in need and caring for them. The theme of the Children's Bureau's National Foster Care Month campaign centers around strengthening relative and kin connections and the positive impact these relationships have on maintaining family and cultural ties for children and youth in foster care. An increased emphasis on prevention and reunification services is necessary to reduce the number of children that are forced to remain in the foster care system. With many children in need of safe and loving homes, Columbus City Council thanks all foster parents who have already answered the call. The commitment to ensuring that all youth in foster care have the love, support, and resources they need to thrive is one that Columbus City Council recognizes. Columbus City Council appreciates the tireless work of all foster parents and urges those interested in learning more about fostering to consider becoming a foster parent as soon as possible. Now therefore be it resolved by the Council of the City of Columbus that this council does hereby honor and recognize the month of May 2022 as National Foster Care Month and expresses gratitude to all foster parents in Columbus, Ohio. Lisa, welcome. The floor is yours.
Thank you. Council President Hardin, Councilmember Remy, all members of council, thank you so much for recognizing National Foster Care Month. My name is Lisa Weehee, and I'm the Director of Social Services with the Bear Foundation. We know that all children deserve safe and loving families. Sadly, we also know that many children are not safe or well cared for in their homes. This past year in Franklin County, there were approximately 1,700 children who needed to be placed in foster homes. Last month alone, we received 139 referrals. 84 of those were for children over the age of 10. 21 of those referrals were for children in sibling groups. Our greatest need is for families who are able to say yes to older children, teens, and sibling groups. We need families who are able to say yes to sibling groups of 2, 3, 4, or more, because when children are removed from their parents, they need to remain with their siblings. At the Bear Foundation, we are committed to developing strong children, strong families, and strong communities. We work hard because there are more children that need safe homes than there are foster families able to accept them. We work hard to decrease the barriers that foster families face and to support families through the roller coaster ride that is foster care. Foster families provide the love, support, and safety that children need to heal from their traumas. Foster care provides biological parents the time they need to improve their lives so that reunification is possible. Sometimes foster care leads to permanency through adoption. And still other youth are in foster care until they reach the age of adulthood and they are ready to live independently. There are many successes to be experienced in foster care. We have a family who became licensed with Bear in March of 2021. We contacted them in early April with a placement offer for 2 siblings, age 4 and 5. These children were being removed from their home for reasons of abuse and neglect, and they had many challenging behaviors and needs. And this family had never parented before, but they said yes to these children. 4 months later, we called them again, and said, hey, we have 2 more half-siblings of those boys in your home. Can you please say yes to them too? And they did. So right now, that family has placement of 4 siblings, and they are going to be adopting these children. This is one of the success stories of foster care, and I could share many more stories like this, but we still need to do more. We need to work so that every single child that needs a family has one. And the Bear Foundation is ready to provide training, support, and guidance to families that are ready to be part of a success story for children. Thank you for your recognition and support of foster families and the extraordinary love and commitment that they have for children. We are so grateful to have the support of City Council.
Thank you very much, Lisa. We appreciate you coming in tonight and sharing the story. I know personally, my aide is a foster parent and has been committed to fostering. And so, the work that goes into that, to be able to do that, the need is great. And we know that it's important to highlight that because there are many other examples, just like you mentioned, that people could help fulfill in our community. So thank you for all the work that you do. Are there any questions or comments from my colleagues? All right. Seeing none, I move for passage.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy. President Harden.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Nice to meet you too.
All right. A reminder that I'm going to be holding community hours next Tuesday, May 24th, 2022, from 12:30 to 2. If you would like to attend, you can email my assistant, Lucy Frank, at ljfrank@columbus.gov. Also, that evening at 5:30, I will co-host a hearing with Council President Hardin to review the city's violence intervention programs. Council would like to share an update with residents over what violence prevention, intervention, and disruption programs occurred in 2021 and what programs can be expected in 2022. Any resident seeking to submit written testimony should forward it to the office of Councilmember Remy. Written testimony must be received by 2 p.m. on the day of the hearing and emailed to Lucy Frank at ljfrank@columbus.gov. Thank you, Council President. That is all I have this evening.
Thank you, council member, and thanks folks who participated in the hearing that Councilmember Remy chaired last week on upcoming grants, and certainly appreciate the administration and my colleagues in our work to think through how we can support youth violence grants this summer. So thank you, Chair, for your leadership. Are there any questions or comments from our elected leaders and offices? Seeing none, are there any requests by members of council for the removal of an ordinance or resolution on tonight's agenda? Seeing none, may we now have a motion to waive reading of titles of third-day legislation? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy. President Harden.
Will the clerk now read into the record the ordinance numbers of 30-day legislation on tonight's agenda?
Finance Committee Ordinance 1213-2022, Public Utilities Committee Ordinances 1176, 1198, 1205, 1242, 1247-2022. Public Safety Committee Ordinance 1264-2022, Zoning Committee Ordinances 1342, 1355, 1335, and 1343-22.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We don't have any speakers on the first reading portion of the agenda. The following ordinances appear on our agenda as consent action. Will the clerk now read those into the record?
Resolutions of Expression 89X and 87X-2022, Economic Development Committee Ordinance 1291-2022, Small and Minority Business Committee Ordinance 620-2022, Public Service and Transportation Committee Ordinances 1125, 1203, 1204, 1212, 1230, 1231, 1249-2022, Public Utilities Committee Ordinances 1138, 1149, 1170, 1174, 1182, 1295, 1301-2022, Housing Committee Ordinances 1347 and 1349-2022, Health and Human Services Committee Ordinances 595, 919, and 1293-2022. Appointments from the Mayor's Office numbered A0120, 121, 122, 123, 124, 125, 126, 127, 128, 129, 130, 131, 132, 133, 134, 135, 136, 137, 138, 139, 140, 141, 142, and 143-2022.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We have one speaker on the consent portion of the agenda. Mr. Nate Wilkins, welcome back to the council. Mr. Wilkins is speaking on Ordinance 1349 in the Housing Committee.
Arlington Avenue, Mr. Lathan, George Wilkins. First of all, speaking on 1349, 2022, the property holding the land bank at 1002 East Lawn Street. I just would like to know how long this property been in the land bank and what will this property be used for on, I believe it's on East Long Street. So again, I just need more clarification, how long this property been in the land bank. Thank you for your time.
Director, do we have that available now, or can we follow up?
We will follow up with Mr. Wilkins.
Thank you so much, Director. Are there any other questions or comments on the consent portion of the agenda? Seeing none. We have any abstentions? Seeing none, may I have a motion for approval of these items? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
The consent portion of the agenda is passed. We will now proceed to the second reading of third-day legislation and emergency legislation. First committee to come before us is Small and Minority Business, chaired by Councilmember Bangston. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, President Harden. Tonight in the Small and Minority Business Committee for second reading, we have Ordinance 1345-2022. And as I read this ordinance, I'm going to invite Mr. Marshall Short and Mr. Ernest Levert, representatives of Maroon Arts Group, to come up to the podium. Ordinance 1345-2022 is to authorize the city clerk to enter into a grant agreement with the Maroon Arts Group to sponsor the Pitch Black Columbus event series, and to authorize an appropriation and expenditure within the Jobs Growth Subfund, and to declare an emergency. Pitch Black Columbus is an event series in partnership with the Maroon Arts Group, built off the idea of cooperative economics. Pitch Black offers entrepreneurs the chance at receiving micro grants through a series of pitch competitions supported by the community. This is the second year council has supported this program, which has expanded given its success of last year. I am happy to partner with my council colleagues, Council President Harden, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla, on this year that we can expand this funding. Tonight with us in chambers, we have Marshall Shorts, who is the vice chair of the Maroon Arts Group, and Ernest Levert, a Pitch Black winner, to speak more on the importance of this event series. And I also want to make sure I recognize the real boss at Maroon Arts Group, Ms. Sherry Neal, who's in the back. Thank you all for being here. Mr. Shorts, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council Bangston, to President Harden and all the other council members. Thank you for having us here today. I'm honored to be here on behalf of Maroon Arts Group. I'll start with a quote, which is in the true spirit that we started this event, which says, "Our task is to expand the democratic space in which our ordinary citizens can make decisions on their own behalf to benefit their community, their country, and the environment that sustains them." And that is from Nobel Peace Prize winner Wangari Maathai. So I'm here to talk about Maroon Arts Group event Pitch Black. Try to be brief, well, I'll be brief because I want Ernest to really get the lion's share of this time. But we're excited to talk about this opportunity that is a part of the Deliver Black Dreams, which Council has also supported. But it's really a project about imagination. And imagination is an essential piece to our effort in building a new city, country, and world. Cultural workers are economy builders. And with that understanding, we strive to provide not just tech startups or businesses, but everyday artists, creatives, activists, and small organizations that make our city tick, with a space to organize and advocate on behalf of themselves and their neighbors. This is the spirit of Pitch Black. At the root of it is an idea of creating an ecosystem for change and a fundamental belief that change won't happen if we continue to work in silos. The challenges facing our communities, gentrification, poverty, homelessness, and lack of food access, unemployment, and lack of health care are all interconnected and we need solutions that are as equally complex. Pitch Black is a practice and not imagination on how we continue to change our city and community for the better. To date, we've invested almost $40,000 in small Black-led businesses and projects in our community in the city of Columbus. This has been primarily supported by $10 investments from community members, right? Which means that there's an active participation in this community, where those community members not only spend their $10, but they show up to these events to be in the practice of democracy and vote for the projects they want to see flourish in the committee. This has been also boosted by your generous support over the last year, and we're just getting started, y'all. So we are starting to imagine what funding looks like with low barriers to entry. We know that these micro grants have impact, which Ernest will talk about just here shortly, and the finance is not the solution to our problems, but a part of a bigger network and ecosystem of change where we use art, education, and other forms of cultural production to stimulate racial equity, economic equity, to tell our stories, and to uplift our most marginalized communities. Economy is not just about money, but it is about the ways in which our collective work and responsibility shape our experiences in our communities and our quality of life. This work is a labor of love, primarily ran by volunteers, and what you do in boosting these grants help us support and sustain that work. And so thank you for your consideration of support. And to talk about some of that impact, our first winner of Pitch Black is Ernest Levert. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Ernest Levert, and I serve as the founding director of the Royal Oak Initiative. I'm humble and elated to be here today as the first recipient of the Pitch Black, Deliver Black Dreams funding. It was a nervous experience, but I can tell you I wouldn't have done it without my family, so I'm really excited to be here with them. Chess has been a part of my life since I was 10 years old. One of my earliest memories of chess was teaching and playing chess in my elementary school library with younger students when I was in 5th grade. Chess has always been a tool and platform for exploring my internal world while developing my ability to think through problems. My father got me a chess software program in middle school, which launched my game to the next level. This gave me a great boost of confidence and a foundation of solid chess fundamentals that I still carry with me to this day. These newly acquired skills empower me to connect with others throughout my school, my community, and across the world, because chess is a universal language played in every country. This all led to the establishment of the Royal Oak Initiative, a chess-based mentoring and social change organization that seeks to use the wisdom of chess to protect, heal, and build community by cultivating collective wellness, mindfulness, and critical thinking. With the funding from Pitch Black, Maroon Arts Group, Deliver Black Dreams in the city of Columbus, we recently launched the Cooperative Chess Cultural Center, also known as The Fork, a chess-inspired programming space for hosting tournaments, classes, and even workshops where folks can learn how to make their own chessboards and their own chess pieces and their own chess tables. Guided by our motto of chess for wisdom and wellness, we are constantly exploring ways to contribute to community culture in which people value themselves and others not only based on their physical or financial prowess, but also based on their humanity and mental acuity, creativity, and service to community. We welcome folks from all skill levels and from all backgrounds. And I can say that without this funding, we would not be here today. The Fork is located on Parsons Avenue in Old Town East at 80 Parsons. And it's been remarkable seeing all of the meetups, all the people that have come together. We've had 7 to 8 languages spoken at our meetups. We've had 40 to 50 people come out to these events. And it started off with just one person meeting at a coffee shop, connecting with the other chess players in the space. That through Pitch Black, we've been able to develop a new platform for connecting the community and also delivering a dream that I had back in 2012 in a very dark time in my life, a dark moment in my life. And I didn't know what I was going to do. I was coming out of college. And in that moment, I said, I want to do something with youth. I want to build a bridge. I want to build a center. And because of Pitch Black and the funding from the city, we're able to do that to this day. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen, for all that you do, and got to see some of the programming and witness it firsthand and see what it can do. What I love about this is that it's really community-centered, right? So it's not just about that next tech startup or who the entrepreneur is, but it's also nonprofits like this that are teaching valuable skills to our community. So thank you for all that you do. And Ernest, you still owe me chess lesson, so I'm just saying. But thank you, guys. Council President Harden or Councilmember Barosa de Padilla, anything you would like to add?
I just want to say thank you for, you said it was a labor of love. Thank you for sharing your love with our community. The best ideas come from our community members. It is their creativity. We understand our communities best, right? We understand our people best. And when we give people a platform, I say this all the time, to share their greatness, we all benefit from it. So thank you for creating this platform. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to invest back in our communities. Thank you for investing back in our young people. And I can't wait to see all of the wonderful ideas that will come from the next session of Pitch Black.
All right, thank you, guys. And I encourage anyone, if you haven't had a chance to attend the event, please do. Your $10 is not just about an entry into the event, it's an investment in the community. And also, they will take more than $10 as well, so you're happy to give more. If there's no more, any further comments or questions from my colleagues, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you, and that's all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Next committee to come before council is the
Public Service and Transportation.
Public Service and Transportation Committee, chaired by Councilmember Rosa de Padilla. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
I have one ordinance in public service this evening, 12/11/2022, to appropriate and authorize the transfer of funds between the Hayden Run South TIF Fund and the Hayden Run South TIF Capital Fund, to appropriate funds with the Hayden Run South TIF Capital Fund, to authorize the Director of Public Service to enter into a contract modification with Stan Tech Consulting Services Incorporated in connection with the Arterial Street Rehabilitation Avery Road Widening Project, to authorize the expenditure of up to $1,070,000 from the Hayden Run South TIF Capital Fund for the project and to declare an emergency. So this project will reconstruct and widen Avery Road between Hayden Run Road and the proposed extension of Tuttle Crossing Boulevard. Unfortunately, I do not have aids, but close your eyes and imagine. The project will include a shared use path and a sidewalk along Avery Road, along with new lighting, storm sewer modifications, signal modifications, construction of a new roundabout, and signal installation. So the sidewalk and street lighting will be extended south of the railroad tracks to Winter Run Road on the west side of Avery Road. And the project will be constructed in 2 phases. One phase will be the portion south of Hayden Run Boulevard, Riggins Road, and the other phase will be the remainder of the limits to the north. So this ordinance authorizes the Director of Public Service to modify the contract to begin detailed design work of this very exciting project. Do I have any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. May I move to Health and Human Services in Chairman Favors' absence? Thank you. So I have 2 items in Health and Human Services. 0734-2022, to authorize and direct the Board of Health to accept a grant from the National Association of County and City Health Officials for the Health Equity and Overdose Mentorship Grant Program in the amount of $25,000, to authorize the appropriation of $25,000 from the unappropriated balance of the Health Department Grants Fund, to authorize the Director of Finance and Management to establish a purchase order with BTNX for the purchase of drug strips from the Board of Health, to waive the competitive bidding provisions of City Code, to authorize the expenditure of $19,400 from the city or from the Health Special Revenue Fund to pay the cost thereof and to declare an emergency. This award from the NACCHO for mentor grant funding will be used for staff time to mentor a smaller public health department and technical assistance on a work plan to serve their community. And additionally, this ordinance authorizes the purchase of fentanyl test strips that will be distributed during outreach events conducted by CPH's Addiction Services Division. Do I have any questions or comments from my colleagues? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Great. 0780-2022, to authorize and direct the Board of Health to enter into a grant agreement with Restoring Our Own Through Transformation, or ROOT, to support community-oriented perinatal support doula care, and to authorize the expenditure within the Health Operating Fund and to declare an emergency. Root is a nonprofit organization established in 2017 dedicated to collectively restoring the well-being of Black families. Root's integrated perinatal support model focuses on innovative interventions designed to improve perinatal conditions and birth outcomes for Black mothers and families. Since its inception, Root has served over 500 families and produced a zero maternal and infant mortality rate. Care provided by Root doulas is supplementary to and in conjunction with the additional care a mother receives through her primary care provider, OBGYN, and/or midwife. So Councilmember Bankston has been a champion of this work, and I'd like to invite him to speak at this time.
Thank you, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla. And I won't be long, but I just want to reiterate that 0% number, that the families that they have served, they have seen a 0% maternal and infant mortality rate. And this is what intentionality looks like. And you've heard me all say this before, when we talk about diversity, equity, and inclusion, we have to be intentional. So this is what that intentionality is. This is what investing in our Black mothers looks like. This is exactly what investing in our Black families looks like. And I have seen the benefits of having a doula and what it can do for the birth outcomes for someone. If we want better outcomes for our communities of color, we need to provide those wraparound services and provide funding to those organizations that not only serve Black folks, but also employ Black folks and look like the people that they serve. Support that not only addresses our mother specifically, but support that addresses the whole entire family, because it is a family unit when we talk about getting that baby to age 1. And it's so critical with the doula service, because we know that for Black babies, the #1 driving force is not necessarily making it to 1, it's making it to birth. And so as we continue that fight, I want to first commend Director Stapleton and the work of Celebrate One. Also commend Dr. Mashika Roberts and the Health Department for their support in this effort. But we have to make sure that we continue to invest in these types of organizations. Because as much work as we have done and we have moved the needle, Black babies are still dying at 2 times the rate of our white babies in this community. And so it takes all of us to wrap our arms around it. That is traditional means, but also non-traditional means. That is that emotional support and everything that doula services provide. So on behalf of Councilmember Favor, who has also been a champion of this and has worked alongside my office, so excited to sponsor this piece of legislation tonight and to continue to make sure that we put our Black babies and equality and equity, at the forefront of this fight against infant mortality. So thank you, Councilmember Barosa de Padilla.
And thank you for championing and protecting and helping to invest in women and in families, because it's critically important, especially as a father. So, are there any other comments or questions from my colleagues? Great. With that, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorrance, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That's all for me this evening.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The next committee to come before council is the Education Committee, chaired by President Pro Tem. President Pro Tem, the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Council President. And this is a fitting ordinance to follow the one just sponsored by Council Members Barosa de Padilla and Bankston. In the early childhood community, we talk a lot now about prenatal to 5. It is not just preschool, it is prenatal to 5. And so those investments on the early end have to be there if we're going to also have equitable investments in early childhood. So with that, I have in the Education Committee Ordinance 0481-2022 to authorize and direct the Director of the Office of Education to enter into renewal contracts for the 2021 to 2022 fourth payment with high-quality pre-kindergarten organizations that provide educational services, to authorize the expenditure of up to $1,295,550.50 from the general fund. This opportunity allows for the continued investment in the livelihood of our children. By the age of 5, 90% of a child's brain has developed, making the progression from birth to kindergarten the most significant brain development period in their lives. Both this council and the administration agree that every child in Columbus is equally deserving of a high-quality pre-kindergarten education. And evidence shows that children who enter school unprepared fall further and further behind. We know that students who get a poor start in their earliest years are likely to struggle in high school and subsequently even fail to graduate. In contrast, children who participate in high-quality pre-kindergarten experiences who are given that opportunity are proven to enter elementary school with an increase in literacy, language, and math skills. Not only does this allow students to enter into school with the skills necessary for success, but it also gives working parents the ease of knowing that while they are at work, their child is in an environment where they will be uplifted. By using a partnership with Columbus City Schools and community-based providers, Early Start Columbus is able to expand high-quality pre-kindergarten services to make these resources more accessible for more children. The quality of providers partnering with Columbus City Schools is shown in the state Step Up to Quality rating and improvement system, in which every provider has at least 3 stars. All children deserve the opportunity to achieve the best in life, and this is part of the city's promise to help make that happen. I would like to call out the Director of the Office of Education, Matt Smido, who's been on the ground helping this program succeed for a long time. And when we looked at the success rates of Early Start Columbus, I try not to ever put the microphone away on Early Start without acknowledging that it's a proven program. In Franklin County, 40% of kids enter kindergarten by passing their kindergarten readiness assessment. Those who go through Early Start Columbus, it's 85%, right? 85% of kids are ready past that kindergarten readiness assessment. So we're making a difference. That's the great news. The not so good news is, why aren't we doing more of it, right? Collectively. So with that, questions or comments from colleagues? I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorrance, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. And next, we have Ordinance 1180-2022 to authorize and direct the Executive Director of the Mayor's Office of Education to modify a grant agreement with the Workforce Development Board of Central Ohio to increase the college and career readiness of current, past, and future CCS seniors, to authorize the expenditure of up to $2,355,232 from the Recover Fund already encumbered by Ordinance 1390-2021, and to declare an emergency. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic and economic recession, a significant decline in academic achievement and success has been measured in our students. Many students within our city have lacked the academic credits to graduate or matriculate to the next grade level. The Summer Jam initiative, led by the Workforce Development Board, I Know I Can, and other community partners, aims to change this through virtual and in-person academic programming, as well as financial and career-oriented opportunities that students can engage in. This ordinance is a continuation of 1390-2021, which gave Workforce Development Board, I Know I Can, and other partners $5.8 million to invest in educational resources for high school age students in CCS. Of the $5.8 expended for this initiative, only 1.3 approximately was spent. So an extension of these funds will provide credit recovery opportunities for juniors and up to 403 seniors in Columbus City Schools who are facing not being able to graduate this year. Additionally, this will provide employment and employment opportunities for students who wish to obtain post-grad preparation. After reevaluating implementation strategies to highlight post-grad preparation, it is clear that this program will see success. In order to continue providing resources to Columbus City School students, we request that the use of these funds be extended through 2024. Any questions or comments from colleagues? Seeing none, and with thanks for the Office of Education, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorrance, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
And that is all I have in my committees. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Our next committee coming before council is the Public Utilities Committee, chaired by Councilmember Dorrance. Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President. Tonight in the Public Utilities Committee, we have Ordinance 1265-2022 to authorize the Director of Public Utilities to pay the State of Ohio Treasurer, Department of Natural Resources, for operations and maintenance services and water entitlement costs for withdrawing water from the Allen Creek Reservoir for the Division of Water, to authorize the expenditure of $1,328,015.41 from the Water Operating Fund, and to declare an emergency. The City of Columbus has an agreement with the State of Ohio Department of Natural Resources, allowing the Division of Water to withdraw drinking water from the Allen Creek Reservoir. This was first established in 1971. The annual payment is needed to keep the agreement in effect. The ordinance is being submitted as emergency this evening to meet the payment deadline of May 31st. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. And with your permission, Council President, I'd like to move on to the Rules and Reference Committee
Please.
on page 13 of tonight's agenda. In Rules and Reference, I have Ordinance 1207-2022 to amend various sections of Chapter 4101, 4107, and 4114 of Title 41 Columbus City Codes entitled Building Code in order to provide for the creation and administration of special inspectors as provided for under Chapter 17 of the Ohio Building Code. This legislation amends the city code to give oversight of special inspectors to the Columbus Building Commission. The Columbus Building Commission comprised of a practicing architect, a general building architect, a home builder, and a structural engineer, mechanical engineer, and a representative of the building trades and a representative of building material supplies. It may create minimum qualifications, review these qualifications, and maintain a posted and approved list for, hear complaints against, and suspend or revoke special inspectors from the approved list. A public hearing was held before the Columbus Building Commission on April 19, 2022, and the Building Commission voted to amend the Columbus City Code Chapters 4107 and 4114 relating to special inspector qualifications and recommendations for this proposed ordinance to be moved forward tonight to Council for its adoption. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That is all I have at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Is it the final committee to come before council? It's the Safety Committee chaired by Councilmember Remy.
Did you do your rules and reference? Oh.
Councilmember, the floor is yours. We are moving fast.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. All right, tonight I have Ordinance 853-2022 to authorize and direct the Director of Public Safety to renew the contract for helicopter maintenance with Helicopter Minutemen, Inc. for the Division of Police to authorize the expenditure of $898,666.50 from the general fund. The ordinance authorizes the Public Safety Director to renew the contract with Helicopter Minutemen, Inc. in the amount of $898,666.50 for the maintenance of the Division of Police's helicopter fleet. The Division of Police needs a helicopter maintenance and service agreement for the city-owned police helicopters. The agreement will be used to repair and maintain the fleet of police helicopters. The agreement shall meet the criteria and standards related to aviation maintenance as set forth in the Airborne Law Enforcement Accreditation Certification process. I first move to remove this ordinance from the table.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Removed.
I request to amend to emergency.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Amended.
And I move for passage as amended.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you. That is all I have this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Seeing no further business to come before the council, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Brown, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Meeting is adjourned. We'll reconvene for zoning at 6:30. We have order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Can I get a motion to dispense with the reading of the journal?
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Are there any additions or corrections to the journal? Hearing none, the journal is approved. We'll now go to the zoning committee. Councilmember Dorrance chairs this committee, and all members serve one. And Councilmember, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Council President Harden. Before beginning tonight's zoning agenda, allow me to briefly explain our current rules pertaining to speaking before council on rezoning and variances. We only hear a staff presentation for ordinances that have a disapproval from a recommending body, or if we have a public speaker that is signed up to speak against an ordinance. Tonight, I'm pleased that all the ordinances on our agenda have received full approvals from all recommending bodies, and we do not have any speaker slips from against any applications. So therefore, we will not have any staff presentations this evening. Any speakers on the council variance, including city staff and area commission applicants and members of the public, will be sworn in before they give testimony. Representative of an area commission and applicants are always able to speak on an ordinance and do not need to fill out a speaker slip. On the advice of the city attorney's office, I will now swear in city staff. Please stand and raise your right hand and be sworn in. Do you swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth and nothing but the truth, as you shall answer under the pains or penalty of perjury? If so, please say I do. I do. Thank you. Let the record show that Shannon Pine from the Department of Building and Zoning Services and Daniel Moorhead from the Department of Public Service have been sworn in. First, we have rezoning 1283-2022 to rezone 1402 Joyce Avenue, being 0.62 plus acres located in the southeast corner of Joyce Avenue and Windsor Avenue from C4 Commercial District to LM Limited Manufacturing District. The applicant is A Temporary Fence, LLC, care of Richard Stranachi, agent. The proposed use is industrial development. The city's department recommendation is approval. The Development Commission's recommendation is approval 4-0. The North Central Area Commission's recommendation is approval, and that was unanimous. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Next, we have moving on to the council variances, we have variance 1243-2022 to grant variance for provisions of section 3356.03, C4 permitted uses 3312.49, minimum number of parking spaces required, the Columbus City Codes, the property located at 422 Wilson Avenue to conform an existing single-unit dwelling in the C4 Commercial District with reduced parking. The applicant is Hispanic Realty Consulting Group, LLC, Pedro Falcone, owner. The proposed use is to conform existing single-use dwelling. City's department recommendation is approval. The nearest area commission recommendation is approval 901. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Accept it.
I move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Adopt it.
Move to amend as submitted to the clerk.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Amend it.
And finally, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Next, we have variance 1255-2022 to grant a variance provisions of section 3332.035 R3 Residential District, 3312.49C, minimum number of parking spaces required, 3332.05 area lot with requirements, 3332.13 R3 area district requirements, 3332.26 minimum side yard permitted, 3332.27 rear yard, and 3332.29 height district of the Columbus City Codes of the property located at 930 Franklin Avenue to permit a two-unit dwelling and a single unit dwelling with reduced development standards in the R3 residential district. The applicant is Aaron Boak. The proposed use is a single unit and two-unit dwelling development. The city's department recommendation is approval. Near East Area Commission's recommendation is approval 6001. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Accept it.
Next, I move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Adopt it.
And now I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorance, Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Thank you. Next, we have variance 1256-2022 to grant a variance provisions of section 3332.037 R2F Residential District, 3312.49 C, minimum number of parking spaces required, 3332.05 area district lot with requirements, 3332.14 R2F area district requirements, 3332.25 minimum side yard required, 3332.26 CF minimum side yard permitted, and 3332.27 rear yard of the Columbus City Codes for the property located at 61-67 North 21st Street to conform an 11-unit apartment building and a 2-unit dwelling reduced development standards in the R2F residential district. The applicant is Win QOZB LLC, care of Michael Newman. The proposed use is to conform existing residential development. The city's department recommendation approval. The Near East Commission's recommendation is approval 601. Do my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Accept it.
Next, I move to adopt the findings of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Adopt it.
And finally, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Pass.
Finally, we have variance 1284-2022 to grant a variance provisions of section 3312.21B, landscaping and screening, 3312.274, parking setback line, 3321.09, screening, 3363.24, building lines in an M manufacturing district, and 3363.41, storage of Columbus City Codes, the property located at 1402 Joyce Avenue to permit a reduced development standards for contractor storage in the LM Limited Manufacturing District. The applicant is A Temporary Fence LLC, care of Richard Nasi, agent. The proposed use is the industrial development. City's department recommendation is approval. North Central Air Commission's recommendation is approval, and that was unanimous. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments? Seeing none, I move to accept the entire staff report into evidence as an exhibit.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Accept it.
Move to adopt this finding of staff as the findings of council.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Adopt it.
And finally, I move for passage.
Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Passed.
Thank you, Council President. All I have in the zoning committee tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Seeing no further business become before council, is there a motion to adjourn? Clerk, please call the row.
Bangston, Barosa de Padilla, Dorans, Remy, President Harden.
Have a good evening, everyone.